Hey, it's Jang again with another unboxing of another Thunder Tiger sedan, 1/10 scale, electric, ready to run. This time a little bit different, even though the box is identical. They use the same box for, I believe, the nitro and electric, two-wheel drive and four-wheel drive. This is the two-wheel drive. This is the TS2e, ready to run. Let's go ahead and extricate this thing from its cardboard prison. Freaking box, man. There's a car in there. You know what? Annoying packaging. Very, very annoying packaging. For something so simple, how could they make it so difficult? Okay, with that taken care of, get some silly things out the way. Paperwork. Ooh. Tools. Not much going on there. They give you 4 extra shock pistons. There are 2 two-hole ones and 2 one-hole ones, and a few 4 shock preload spacers, 2 different thicknesses there. All right, that's what you get for spares. The controller, it's the norm right now, the standard ready to run controller that they're using right now. This thing is 2.4 gigahertz. It does have analog trims and steering dual rate, so that's good. Also has endpoints for throttle only, and that's for the nitro versions of these vehicles that they sell. So that leaves us with just the vehicle. Very good. Glad to be at the vehicle quickly this time. Take this little protective bit off, and we are left with just it. We can spend some quality time getting to know it. TS2e, two-wheel drive. For what purpose? To make it cheap. For folks that want to get a electric touring car, and they just want to spend as little as possible just to get one of these things and, you know, try it out. Could be interesting. Unlike the TS4e, I'm happy to report that this one does not appear to be set up completely all to crap out of the box. This one looks to be set up okay. Not perfect. The body is pretty level. That's a good start. The four-wheel drive definitely was not. However, the chassis is jacked up towards the rear. It looks like the ground clearance. I'm looking down close to the ground, but the ground clearance is probably in the 7mm range here, and more like 10mm at the rear, or something like that. But it's not too far off. At least it's within a realm of reasonability. Not something that I can really complain about the way that I was able to easily complain about the four-wheel drive. Okay, so far off to a better start. Let me take this body off. It's the same body that they use on both of these newer sedans. Let's see what's underneath here. Okay, and looks like it is it the same chassis? I think it's the same. I think it's the same chassis. Yeah, I think it's just the same. I think it's the same thing. Same rear whole assembly back here. All this down here is the same as the four-wheel drive. And I think all the way up to the front, no, all that's been changed is that they removed the top deck, they removed the front belt, and of course the whole front suspension is obviously different here. They went with the Formula One style, RC Formula One style front suspension. Let me get a good close-up look at that. I'm going to actually bring you down a little bit closer to the surface. And, whoops, sorry about the rough landing there. Get you in a little bit closer. just look at one side, focus on one side at a time here. You can see there's a little screw in here. This is pretty standard stuff for Formula One cars for decades now. That is your front suspension. It's definitely on the soft side, but given that this is a basher type vehicle, I think it's better to be a little bit soft rather than a little bit stiff, especially at the front. Really, it is what it is. It's narrow and small. I'm a little bit worried about how small this little bumper attachment is there. If you take some hard hits, that may want to break off, but I mean, the whole thing is a little bit on the flimsy side up front. Just minimal amount of material that's used there. Overall, I do have some form of brace here, but I'll give it a shot. We'll see how it does. I'll give it the benefit of the doubt, and who knows? It might actually be decent for what it is, for the low cost and for having something two-wheel drive. I actually like the idea of two-wheel drive on-road vehicles. Most of the most loved street cars in all of history have been rear-wheel drive. Not all, but most have been just rear-wheel drive. Yet most RC sedans are four-wheel drive, mostly because our power-to-weight ratio is so out of scale that we need four-wheel drive in order to put the power down. However, what they've done with this one, with this RTR, again going with the cheap theme, but I think it's actually a good idea in this case to go a little bit cheaper because it's two-wheel drive and definitely going to be traction limited. They have a pretty cheap power system in there, probably low power. It's a brushed system, and they just have a little sealed can motor. Which I know a lot of folks would just automatically gawk at that and say, oh, boo, it's brush, nobody uses brush anymore. But you know what? We're spoiled. We're really spoiled, and especially for a lightweight vehicle like this. I mean, look at all of the dozens and dozens and dozens of well-loved Tamiya cars that are out now and that have been out for the longest time, that people have had so much fun with just the little Mabuchi or Johnson can motors, and it's not because people just like going slow. It's because people can appreciate something that's not slow. It's actually faster than scale, faster than the vehicle ought to be. It's just not stupid fast. I'm definitely going to give this the benefit of the doubt and give it a shot and just see how it actually does, because there is some possibility that it could work out all right. Similar to the TS4, the mesh is terrible here. It's fully ability down, so that's something that needs to be fixed right away. That'll burn up a motor in no time. Adjustability, obviously you just have way less adjustability up front. They have also taken off the metal turnbuckles. They've got plastic ones front and rear, so those are not adjustable, but it looks like the camber settings are respectable and not something that you'll just need to change. It looks like there's a little bit of negative camber at the rear. The front is, I can't tell if there's any camber there at all, but there is no caster. There's no caster angle, so it's not gaining any camber as the wheels turn. So I think that the adjustability should be okay. Although, again, I did mention that the chassis was raked forward a little bit. And that's by virtue of too much preload here and/or droop. Yep, they do have droop screws still in the rear here, and those are bottomed out a little bit too far. There's no droop in here. These springs are preloaded too much, so I'll need to take some preload out, take some droop out of that, and that should get that to a decent place. It's very interesting that they used the four-wheel drive chassis completely, did not even change the weight distribution. I mean, minimally, by removing this front plate and removing the front diff, but normally going from four-wheel drive to two-wheel drive, especially in a high high power to weight ratio application, you need to move weight rearward a lot. And they have not done that with this one. Both the 4-wheel drive and 2-wheel drive use a transverse battery position that's right here. You can see that it's still using the chassis that would also accept saddle nickel packs. You can probably put saddle lipo packs in the same space, but for the most rearward weight balance, you do want to put your battery in sideways back here. And who knows, might even want to add some extra weights, just add some weights on somewhere towards the rear, stick them on the insides of the chassis back here or something, but we'll see how that works out. This one does have the same wheels and tires as the 4-wheel drive, again with the same problem of there being no foam inserts, or at least if there are any foam inserts in there, they're so soft that they might as well not be in there. But that's probably going to be a little bit more of a problem on this one than it even is on the 4-wheel drive. But at least the tires are good. The tires are excellent for ready to run. I'm happy with that. Soft enough. Still some mold release compound on them that makes them feel a little bit stickier than they really are, but it's decent rubber, so no complaints about that. Just wish they had inserts in them. And what else? That's pretty much it. That's pretty much all there is to see on this one. If you've seen the 4-wheel drive that I did just before this, it's kind of the same thing again, minus the front part, you know. And I'm looking forward to seeing how this does. If I can figure out a way to make it work pretty decently, might even have to put some nitro foam rear tires on there or something, get some extra grip off of it. But I would like to do a little mini, not quite a project thing, just to put to give it a proper look of a respectable full-scale rear-wheel drive car, you know, maybe a muscle car or something like that, and just get the realistic handling out of it. Might even need to put in a little D box, you know, little gyro, just to help with the orientation as you put the throttle on, because no matter what, rear-wheel drive with tires this small, you are going to be able to spin out easily if there's enough power there. And I'm willing to bet that, you know, with 2-cell lipo and even with that little silver can motor, it might need to be geared up a little bit, but I'm sure you can get plenty of tire spinning power out of that. So who knows, I might have to do some work with it, but I'm looking forward to this. I like the idea of 2-wheel drive. It's not ideal, it's not fully optimized, but I think that makes it better. You know, we'll have to see how it all works out. This all could go very, very bad very, very quickly as soon as I put a battery in and put it onto the ground. So stay tuned for the actual running videos. I will run it. Looks like I should be able to run it bone stock. There are no major problems with this other than the gear mesh that I will fix. But as far as suspension setup and wheels and tires and all that, I'll just run it as is, see how it does, and then start making small adjustments, minimum price adjustments to get it as good as it can be within reason without doing full conversions of everything. And then, of course, I will put up a full review of the thing. So thank you very much for tuning in. Don't know why people like to watch these unboxing videos, but hey, they are easy to do, and it's my pleasure to be able to do them. It's a process that I need to go through anyway, so I'm just talking while I'm doing it instead of doing it all off camera. And stay tuned, like I said, for the real stuff about this, the real review, and more videos and everything RC related. Yay! Bye for now.